Yes, good morning. And we back to a wonderful lecture that we discussed in the previous class. It's about none other than Stephen Hawking. Why this lecture is very important and what is the secret in this lecture? Yes, we call that and we have to quick look about our PPT. And before we are going to have a PPT, just we have a brief talk on who is Stephen Hawking. And as a physics student, as a mathematical student, or as a chemistry student, as a being a science student, you have an idea of Stephen Hawking. And he's before we are going to start his detailed introduction, let me brief him about 2 lines. He's a great physicist, cosmologist, and a great mathematician. Why we call all these crowns to his head? Means his service towards physics, his service towards mathematics, his service towards space is a benchmark in physics. And he is the role model to physics. He is the role model to youngsters. He is the role model to many people. It's not about, we should not confine his personal life to a particular profession. Why we can call all these professions, as you know, like Stephen Hawking is like, walking encyclopedia, we can call him, right? Why we can have all these credentials? And before we are going to start all this, just you can brainstorm your ideas. And he's like, he's not like an engineer, but he's a physicist and a cosmologist and mathematician. We have an idea and we need to struggle for his rendering services towards all these professions. Yes. And before we are going to start, I'm going to conclude with a small briefing part. It's about every person should follow some 7 steps. And he expected from the people who wants to read about his brief history about his life, and he always expects something from his history. It's none other than 7 principles in Stephen Hawking. What are these 7 principles? Why these 7 principles are so important in his life? Yes, all these 7 principles stands on his outstanding benchmark, his rendering services towards his entire career. Yes, and before we are going to start this, just you need to brainstorm your ideas and you can write on paper, and maybe can you guess at least 1 out of 7? Maybe we can call it, for example, if you see any sort of role model, we think that maybe he is a hard worker, maybe he is like, he has tons of patience, and he is like, social reformer. We have such type of ideas trained in our thoughts. It's not about like that, but you are close to that idea. Just you take a paper and draw the ideas, and your ideas, 7 ideas. Which ideas are exactly suits to your thoughts? Yes. Quiet people have the loudest mindset. What is this quote? Recall. When we hear or when we look at this quote, there are train of thoughts comes to our brain. What is that? Yes. Quiet people have the loudest mindsets. Maybe we can call it silent people make many wonders. And empty vessels is the one phrase I'm going to share you. Empty vessels makes much noise. Maybe it's nothing, but we don't have anything, but we do, sounding in the public. But here it's not. His quote is, he's quite calm in the public. He thought that if you want to give any sort of wonders, if you want to do any sort of outstanding miracles, all outstanding miracles comes from a silent brain. This is his quote. Let us see. Yes. And before we are going to start, this is the formal introduction, where he was born and when he was born, and for the parents and everything we have to know. And being coming to his birth, and is born on January 8th in 1942, Oxford, England. Stephen Father is basically he is a doctor. But for example, just see in our according to our families, our father wishes to be a something, but in our mind we want to be something. But sometimes, not sometimes, the all times there is a great mismatch between the parents' aspirations and children's aspirations. The same thing happen in even extraordinary people minds, extraordinary people lifestyle also. Yes, what happened in Stephen Hawking's life? Yes. When he was child, his father wants to grown up. His father wants to become his son like great doctor, because his father is is a biologist, and being the some essence of that biological conditions or biological situations making his father wants his son to become a doctor. But whereas he's a cute and dynamic and we can call it as quite abnormal person. It's like a Stephen Hawking. He wants to become his profession is entirely different to his father's profession. Means his father wants to become his son as a doctor, whereas he wants to become his profession as physicist, cosmologist, and it's none other than he's a great mathematician. Let us see how these happen, and when his father decided his son, he definitely wants to become a doctor. Why these anti-diversions come to a close end? Let us see. Yes. Next, in 1959, he was accepted to University College in Oxford, where he studied theoretical physics. After receiving his BA degree and so on, so 96, he left for graduate at Trinity Hall. So all these things, but his father wants to become something, but he is kept aside, and whatever he wants to in his mind, the same goal he was carrying entire his career. Maybe he was doing his all degrees related to the physics, because he was when he was very young age, he was always discover something. His mindset is not about to do a mechanical studies. He's always make his perception like innovative. Yes, and next Hawking started developing symptoms of serious illness. So when he was after completion of his studies and all these things, and very initial stage, he got some serious health attack, and there was a nervous breakdown, neuro illness. But very short span of time at the time, all the doctors decided, and he will not be live long years, and very short span of time he used to sign off his life. But all expectations were reversed, and later, and whatever perceptions and whatever statements given by doctor, it was entirely deleted by his willpower. Yes. Next, his illness stopped progressing, and when the doctor said he is not live more years, so at that time he was struggling a lot, and he never bothered about his illness, and he never bothered about his instant demise. What's the reason behind this? His willpower is amazing. His willpower made him to do volumes of books and volumes of researches and volumes of innovative thoughts in his mind. Maybe that willpower, that innovative ideology, that creative thoughts extend his lifespan. Everything there is a calculation. If you want to do something, extend, there is a chance to do lots of things in the life, then definitely lifespan will be increased. Yes. Yes, after getting this, after nervous breakdown, neuro illness, then after that, gradually there are less positivity to expand his what we call health. Then after that, after got his serious illness, then immediately he lost his voice. So even though he lost his voice, he never bothered about his circumstances. He never bothered about his surroundings. All surroundings are very passive. All surroundings, remains negative force. But whenever he gets back that type of conditions, he never bothered about his around conditions. Yes, and at the time when he lost his voice and he was not able to speak, and means it's nothing but he was quite disabled with his voice, and nobody is there to get something, and nobody dares to take any steps when he was at that stage. So very short span of time, his friends, made him to do something. It's a very short span of time. His friends, and along with his friends, he shared one machine. That machine, he kept his wheelchair. Whenever he wants to produce sounds, just he can use his thumb. That thumb is produce sound. With that sound, he can manage all the things. That will be the benchmark to his career. From there onwards, he never so all conditions or negative condition. There is no little sign which gives a positive energy towards his career. And today we can call it as he is a great physicist, cosmologist, and we can call it as great mathematician. He wrote number of books. He got he bagged many awards and rewards. But how all these possibilities comes to his crowd today, and there is a silent tragedy of all these issues. I do not say it's like a tragedy; it's a silent pain. That's what his first line starts with. The innovative minds is the loudest actions needs a quiet mindset. That would be maybe matched to this concept. And next, after completion of education completed, his father wanted to become something, and he decided to do something. And all these issues, he lost his health, and he lost his voice, and all these step by step, he gradually overcome all these issues. And when he was right to settle, so at the time he was felt in crush. Maybe that crush made him to keep a wonderful life partner. And very short span of time, this guy engaged with a beautiful girl. And after getting engaged, they got 3 kids, and 2 boys and 1 baby girl. Yes. Then very short span of time, maybe there are some disturbances in the marital status, and very short span of time that a bonding marriage is not like a evergreen journey. It's very short span of time. It was dispersed. Dispersed means there are many issues. Due to that, they were dispersed and they were living separated together. They are not living together, they are living separated. Yes. Then after that, he is always connected to the gravity force and everything. He is always, his mind, he never mention about God in his books or in his works or in his profession. But he thought that means he is a theist or a theist, we don't know. But he never put a word towards God. Means it's something, but there is a positive sign besides all his innovative thoughts, that maybe we can call it as God or anything. But anyway, he is always he tuned to the flying hockey. So when he was very short time after that marriage and all these breakups, and he was used to do one sort of practical gravity. That's nothing but when he was flying Hawkins and being a science student, you have an idea how these friends are doing this experiment on gravity force, and how this guy, maybe Stephen Hawking, wants to fly himself. As we are flying Hawking, we can quote it as. Just we have to see which type of force he used and what type of innovative thoughts made him to do that experiment. We have to see. And next, science and religion. That's what we discussed in bit before. Where is the science and where is the religion? But he never mentioned about God. But he has a strong feeling. He has a nostalgia about God. But he never mentioned there is a God existence and something. And he believed that, if for example, if you take something is going to happen. For example, if we take our tradition or culture, how the tradition or culture comes, there is a proof. And the tradition culture we can blindly believe as a god, but he said that there is a tradition and there is a culture. The tradition and culture is part and parcel of science. So, and he never, and we don't want to say he never rejected the God existence, but he said that there is a power, there is a some positivity in the nature. That nature positivity we can call it as, other people can call it as God, but being a scientist we can accept it as God. Somehow we can accept it as science. The next we can black holes theory, and you have been a science student, you have an idea about what is this black holes theory. It's purely related to the satellite, and in the sun there is a gravity force. Due to the gravity force in the satellite, in the planet, there are some pole, that gravity makes the satellite total planet into the some poles that we can call it as. He must rigorously work on that black hole theory, why this gravitational force occur in planet, and he has done a sequel we can call it as sequel theories related to this black hole theory. And finally, whenever we call it as black hole theory, definitely there is a iconic benchmark in his service, especially his service towards this theory, and we can call it as him as a father of black hole theory. And next, black hole theory, how this theory introduced, and how this theory introduced and goes on within practical life, he was discussed. And this in 1974 we calculated black hole should emit radiation known today as Hawking's radiation until they exhaust their energy and evaporate. Means it's nothing but there is through black holes we can find some radiation. That radiation occurs, that radiation happens due to this black holes. Maybe that would be the reason. That would be the not reason. There are so many theories will come after that. Let us see. And next, Hawking, the mathematician. And very starting introduction, I see very clearly, he is a mathematician. Why being the person, how all these credentials get to his crown, means he is a great mathematician. Means why he got that much interest. Being a child, he has that much curiosity. Means it's nothing but all mathematics. If you need a mathematical terms, all the problems ends with the solution. But all solutions, all problems needs definitely a solution. For example, if you take one problem, everybody has a solution to the problem. But which solution is the final solution? The solution which relates to the problem, and the problem which accurate to the solution. Then we can close it with the solution. So it's nothing but we have many solutions. Which solution is applied to that problem accurately? That would we need to concentrate. Yes, in that way, and he always interested to find the solution to the problems. Maybe due to that interest, he made himself to be like a great mathematician. Yes, though many people consider Hawking a mathematician, the scientist himself often said that the last time he studied maths was in secondary school, and even when he taught mathematics at university in 1970s, he admitted that he was only 2 weeks ahead of his students. Means it's nothing but all these credentials or running success to his mathematical grade. Yes. And next we can to the popularizing science, and every profession, maybe he is a scientist, or he is a researcher, or he is a mathematician, or he is a biologist, or any profession. If you want to select any profession that you are 100% dedicated to your life, and you rigorous your services toward that profession, obviously it would be like a outstanding benchmark in career. So likewise Hawking, Stephen Hawking did like so, and very short span of time he bagged with outstanding prizes, outstanding awards, outstanding rewards to his service towards science. And very short span of time great success with the works of popular science. The best-selling book, maybe I forget to say this, and moreover he's a great writer. And what type of writing? He is not at all write something about all volumes of books on literature and volumes of books on science. But he's connected towards this physics, and he wrote some books related to his works and published as a brief history of time. This would be the one book. And next, Black Holes and Baby Universe. This is another book. And these books he was writing, and these books got outstanding response to his writer career. And The Universe in a Nutshell Manner. This is another book. And definitely you can have these type of key points in your exam whenever you get the chance to write something about him. And these are the outstanding books we need to recollect. And next, and one more thing, the Gravis design and popularizing the thing, and so many ideas and so many things make him to popularize. And maybe one of the popularizers means that's nothing. He also wrote his children's books. George's Secret Key to the Universe, together with his daughter, in a Brief History of Time, published in 1988. And there is only one equation, as Hawking himself explained. Every equation could not be the same of the book by Hawking. It's nothing. He never bothered about his I want to write something. I want to write something. Whatever I'm going to whatever stuff I'm going to sell in the market, I'm going to settle my economical status. He never has such type of very mean ideas. But every time he wants to say something, every time he wants to expose himself, every time he wants to give creative wings to his thoughts. And next, we'll go with the awards. What are the awards we can? What is it?